Lottie, firstly, huge welcome to Tales with Versatail.
Very nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming. I do really appreciate your time. I know you're really busy, so we will get straight into it. So, a bit of context behind the podcast is that the reason I wanted to do it was I really wanted to hear from and share the stories from successful sportswomen like yourself or from leaders in business or other fields, and to dig a little bit deeper into more of the why and the how that you've been as successful as you have been. So, to start with, can you give us some early context or some kind of key elements that have helped shape the way that you are fundamentally as a person that's helped you be as successful as you have been?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of three things sort of stick out for me is like I've got real passion for what I do, and I think that's fundamental for me. I think you've got to love what you do, and I absolutely love cricket. I think anyone that knows me knows that I love the game, and it's been part of my life for so long. I think this real care for people. I really love people, and I love caring for people, and I think again building good relationships in any sort of organisation or team is really important. And I think I'm really honest. I think that's a thing that I think has been and stuck with me probably from a very early age through my family is just be really honest about sort of how you performed, how you go, and giving really honest feedback to people now in the role I'm in. So I think those things I've sort of really stuck by. Um, and, I think stand you in good stead for anything that you do.
Where do you think the caring mindset and approach has come from? How's it been kind of instilled in you?
I think from an early age, I think my family really cared about me. They were tough on me at times, but I think tough can also mean that you really care about someone. And I think growing up, I always had this real family that was real keen cricketers, but real family people. And I guess they instilled a lot of good values in me from an early age, which, I'm very thankful for now. At the time, you think, oh, they're being quite hard on me, but they only cared and wanted me to be the sort of best I could possibly be.
Oh, nice. And where did kind of cricket then fit into that? Where was that blend of toughness and good values? Did cricket sit nicely within that?
Yeah, well, I was brought up on a cricket field. Mum made the cricket tees. Dad played cricket on a Saturday, and me and my brother got dragged down to cricket. And to be fair, that's all I knew from the age of sort of 2 or 3 through till I was, my teens really. And I spent a lot of time at a cricket club, a real community element to it as well. And that instilled a lot of good values in me as well. So I've got a lot to be thankful for my upbringing, I think, and yeah, and things that stick with me now today, which I think is so important.
Yeah, of course. And I'm presuming in that environment that was predominantly boys cricket back then at local village club.
Yeah, there weren't too many girls around. To be fair, when I grew up, I just thought that if I wanted to play for England, I had to play for England men because that's all I saw.
Really?
All I saw on TV. I didn't know that females played cricket until 1993, and I watched the World Cup on TV on BBC, and I thought, I want to do this. And I was 13 at the time, and that was the moment. And 3 years later, I made my England debut, and it's amazing how, a lot of female athletes talk about if you can't see it, you can't be it, and that was real for me. That was the light bulb moment where I thought, do you know what, I want to play cricket for England, and I was just really, really lucky that I was in the right place at the right time. And, I was pretty good as well.
Yeah.
And I'd played
Helps.
a bit of boys cricket, which had kind of stood me in good stead. Like, every game of cricket I played from the age of 9, 10, everyone was judging me. Everyone was looking at me saying, I'm not sure she should be playing.
Yeah.
Parents were scowling at me thinking, you've just got my son out. So at that point, I didn't realise that was actually preparing me to play international cricket.
Yeah.
I found it so tough. There was days I just didn't want to turn up because I was going to be looked at, or I'd have to ask where I was going to get changed because every single male cricket club didn't have a female changing facility. I'd have to go in the toilet, in the roller shed, or in the there was amazing places where I was getting changed, but I found that quite daunting. But playing the cricket was the easy bit.
Did you ever feel that burden of responsibility that you were reflective of women's cricket every time you played? Were you kind of aware of that at the time?
I don't think necessarily of the wider game. It was just more about I was different. I was unusual. Was this person meant to play cricket? But I think that passion to want to play and that ambition to potentially prove a few people wrong, I think just kept spurring me on to say, don't not do this, because it was the easy thing was not to do it, because it was actually uncomfortable. It was quite hard. And actually my parents did the best thing. They just let me go and play, and they let me go and do this on my own at times, where I had to turn up with one of my friends' dads or whatever, and had to deal with a lot of it on my own. And that was partly because dad was working, mum didn't drive. And you even think those experiences, had they have probably been there and maybe shielded me a bit from it, I may not have been as tough as I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably another reason why I've been successful, is because I'm pretty mentally tough, and I don't often like being said no to. So I think probably, that's been probably something from an early age that has been instilled in me.
So did that carry on through to men's cricket as well? How long did you kind of play men's cricket for as well?
I probably played men's cricket till I was about 17, 18, right. Probably, and a little bit after there, but I got picked for England when I was 16, so things probably shape it to the fact that you're going to play a bit more women's cricket. So, but even although I played for my dad's men's team when I was 11, and I was a sub fielder, and like first 11 men's cricket, which was really good standard. And the fact that they had the confidence to put me on the field down at fine leg, I was well out of the way, don't worry, but it was quite intimidating and like daunting for a young girl, 11-year-old, to be doing that.
So what do you think were the key things from boys and men's cricket that you think have stood you in good stead moving forwards from a high skill performance point of view?
I think just being able to compete with the lads. I think the mental side was the biggest thing. Having to prove yourself every time you went out to the wicket. I captained the boys' teams as well, right. So that was a really great experience. That actually I could lead not just females, but boys loved being told what to do. It was great.
Bet that went down very well.
No, they did. They loved me as captain because I think it was just different. And they didn't see me as a girl. They saw me as Charlotte, who played cricket with them and was part of their team. So
and did you feel like that? Did you feel part of the team?
Yeah.
And then sometimes did you feel, you were different, like you've mentioned?
I felt when I was with them, I felt part of the team. When I was on my own, going out to bat, I felt it was quite intimidating. You've got these boys, they didn't know how to deal with it. 15-year-old boys don't know how to deal with the fact that girls playing against them, they didn't know if to bowl beamers at me short. They didn't know if to take it easy on me. Yeah. It was hilarious, really, watching young lads trying to work out what to do.
So when you look back now, are they pretty fond memories playing boys cricket?
Really fond memories, but some really tough moments within that, which shaped me, I think, which, I'm thankful that I went through. But yeah, I think when I played for England, I was thankful I went through it because I thought this is a breeze now. Playing for England actually in front of quite a few people and going to India for my first World Cup, when you've gone through what I went through probably from the age of sort of 10, it seems quite easy. And then to be in a women's team where you're accepted, felt quite nice, really.
Yeah. And I guess it's interesting now how far the game has come, that girls now have these systems where if you want to, you could play girls only club, girls only county, EPP, academy. So there is now a system in place where girls can choose to not play boys and men's cricket if they don't want to. Are you maybe concerned that might actually be detrimental to the kind of the higher skill performers, that they're missing out on those kind of benefits, challenges, everything that you've just spoken about that's helped shape you as a person?
Yeah, it does. Well, it does sometimes worry me to think that I've had such a great experience from playing boys cricket. I always say to any parent that asks me, play the highest standard of cricket you can play until you're told you can't. And I think that would be always my advice, push yourself, but equally understanding that the games are different. And I think there was a lot of stuff from the men's game that, prepared me for international cricket. There were some things that held me back a little bit, like the pace of the bowling was quicker, so it was easier for me when I played boys cricket. When I played my first international, I had this ring-field little dibbly-dobblies coming in at me. I was like, oh God, I'm not prepared for this. But you adapt, you evolve yourself, and so I played quick bowling well, and I pulled and cut well. So that actually helped me the higher standard of women's cricket I played.
So that if there's a county age group girl now listening who's 14, 15, 16, wants to go on and play professionally or play for England, what's one piece of advice you would give them from that kind of high performance perspective of how do they get their skills to be as best as they can?
I think you play with the best people you can possibly play with, and if that's boys, if that's girls, if that's men, I think that's what you've got to do. And I think you've got to try and stretch yourself as much as you can, put yourself out of your comfort zone, because I think that's something that I had to do. It wasn't my choice,
Yeah.
but I had to do it. Whereas a lot of probably girls now see that all girls are they being stretched? Are they being put out of their comfort zone from an early age? And that would probably be my only bit of advice, is make sure you're doing that from as early as possible. So when you get to 18, 19, you're not being stretched then, and you're kind of used to it.
Yeah, and it feels a bit easier when you get to that point. And throughout that journey, then obviously you mentioned playing boys cricket. Did you have any female coaches at all, or was it all male coaches throughout your journey?
It was mainly male, but there was quite a few female coaches on the England programme that was, not like it is now. We had camps probably every 6 weeks, and for a couple of days we'd pay for those camps.
Really?
So it's very different to what I'm experiencing now with working with England. So yeah, there was visibility of female coaches. They were ex-players. Right. Enid Bakewell was one of them. So yeah, it was nice to have that sort of mix of male and of female coaches.
And from the better coaches who taught you or coached you, what were some of the things that stuck out from what they helped you to develop?
I think the coaches that I felt impacted most on me, they were generally the ones that were happy to give me direct feedback around where I needed to improve.
Was that your dad often, or was that other coaches?
No, and support you. I think that's the thing around coaching, isn't it? It's you can be direct, you can give honest feedback, but you've got to then have that care and support for the player to help them through it. And I think that was something that stuck through with one of my coaches from an early age was David Capel at Northampton. He sadly passed away in the last few years, but he was brilliant for me because he really pushed me, but he cared for me because he knew I wasn't one of the fittest players. Mm-hmm. So before we used to do a training session, he'd take me running around Northampton because he knew that was an area that I needed to improve in. But he didn't just say go and run; he actually came with me.
Right.
And then and I've followed that. I've done that at the Vipers. There's been a few players who have struggled. So I've tried to, not that I'm very fit, but I think players really see if you care that they want to, and you want to help them, even in areas that they do struggle in. And I think that's the most important thing is when they do, struggle in an area that you're giving them even more support and to help them basically. So yeah. I need to get running again.
Get back into it. Well, I was doing a bit of research before this podcast, and there was one thing that shocked me that I saw, and I've never seen it before, and it's a picture of you that I'd never seen before.
You're not showing it, are you?
I've got it with me because I've only ever seen pictures of you like lifting trophies, playing for England, blah, blah, blah. This one, I've got it with me, and I want to see what your reaction is to it. For those that are listening that can't see, it is Lottie in a skirt playing what looks like a gorgeous cut shot or front foot cut shot. What's your initial thoughts and reactions when you see that photo going back to that time?
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was at Wellingborough School, and this is where I've got ridiculous memory for where I played and stuff. I just think I'm proud that, played in a skirt, probably had to pay for that skirt and all of that kit as well. And to be sat here now coaching England and seeing sort of, I guess, how women's cricket has evolved over the time that I've been involved in the game. yeah, I'm pretty happy with that shot as well. So
It looks like a good one. So at that point, was that playing women's cricket in that skirt? And when you played men's cricket, would you have to wear a skirt then, or was it all trousers?
so yeah, trousers.
Okay.
So I remember when I got told I had to play in a skirt because
Yeah.
it was just. I remember the day they said, "Well, you've got to play in a skirt," and I just remember looking at mum and dad. I didn't want to wear a skirt.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to play to the highest level you want to, and that was part of the deal. That
What
right,
level was that you were playing at there?
so that was for East Anglia women.
Right.
So that shows again how far the game's come because I was playing for East Anglia, so it wasn't a county.
Yeah.
It was a sort of a region really that then. I love that jumper actually.
You still got it.
But like I say, we paid for all of that stuff. And those skirts were 50 quid back in the day, and you could only get them from one place in England. It was called Len Smith's in Twickenham.
That's
in
why
London.
they were 50 quid then.
Yeah,
Good business
exactly.
model, that.
And we had to wear the long socks. It was the long socks that did me.
Yeah.
And the amount of grass burns. And
I was going to say, do you think it impacted you from in the field? Like, did you still dive?
I wasn't the best fielder anyway, so it certainly didn't impact my fielding because I didn't want to dive anyway. But the reason why we changed from skirts in the end was we went to India in 1997 and they changed us. We were in trousers because of the fact they thought the hygiene and getting grass.
Because that's what I was going to ask. Because obviously you're probably the last generation of female cricketers to wear that. That's what I was going to ask. Was it like a conscious kind of like, now we're not doing this anymore, or is it just something that naturally kind of happened?
I think it was that tour to India that I think just changed. That everyone thought, right,
the better.
Yeah, we can't be diving on the outfields or dry outfields, and there was some pretty horrendous grass burns and scars on legs. But I mean, we looked nice, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't
quite high performance, is it?
No, it's not quite high performance.
So, what was the ecosystem, the cricketing system then? How did you go from East Anglia to being spotted to play for England?
A luck.
Was it?
I was playing for my boys' county team, and I got spotted by a friend of a current England selector, which her name was Elaine Walker. Mickey Dunn saw me playing in this game. He passed my name on. By the end of the week, I was going to an East Anglia under-19 trial, and then by the end of August, I was going to an England under-19 trial at the age of 13. So. Wow. That's how small a world it was, and I was just lucky, I got seen at the right place at the right time, and
the skill element.
But if someone wouldn't have seen me, that could have been another couple of years, and it was just.
Absolutely.
But some of the places I went for East Anglia in that first sort of little bit was quite amusing. To compare it to now, but I loved it. Now. It didn't matter that there was no money in it, or we were having to pay for our own kit. It was just the fact that I was getting the opportunity to play more cricket, more female cricket, and obviously then getting picked for England. Yeah, was pretty cool.
What was your mindset like when you first got picked for England, or when you were first going into that dressing room? What were you like at that age? Were you cocky, a bit of confidence, or what was it like?
Say boo to a goose, I don't think. So I got picked when I was 16, and I got to open the batting with Jan Britton, who was someone I just idolised from growing up. In the sort of 3 years I was watching county cricket, got to open the batting with her at Guildford, and play with a lot of the players I'd really looked up to. So it was just like the best few days. Went down to Guildford, paid for my blazer, 50 quid for my blazer. It was unrecognisable to what it is now.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. I was playing for England. I got my cap.
Did you ever have any doubts about yourself in that environment at all?
No, they made me feel so welcome. I felt like I was good enough. And that kind of had come from probably performing well over a 2-year period. It felt like I was meant to be there, and just loved it. And I was, playing with some really experienced people, which they made it kind of really easy for me, really. And I could just go out there and play and enjoy myself.
Nice. So, debut in 1996.
Yeah.
But then I didn't realise you then didn't captain until 2005. So I think whenever I've seen you or heard about you, it's always been England captain. That's however I remember
Yeah.
you. I didn't realise 9 years of just playing, I say in inverted commas. Did you enjoy that period of not captaining? And then if so, like where was the desire to then become England captain?
I think it was the best thing that ever could have happened to me, just having that, like you say, that 9-year period of being a player. Um, I always wanted to captain. I guess it was just getting the right timing, and that came in 2005. And yeah,
Where
I
did
was
that desire come from to
I
captain?
I just to captain everything I played in. I've captained the boys. I captained every women's team I played in. So it just felt, yeah, I was ready. I was ready to go. I'd kind of done my apprenticeship. Um,
What do you think came so easy to you as captain? Why was it so natural? I know you'd just done it from a young age, but there's still a lot of people that have played cricket for a long time and haven't captained. So why was it so natural for you, do you think?
I just think I'd always loved that side of the game. I was such a student of the game. I loved. I actually miss captaincy more than I miss playing. If that makes, if someone said to me now, would you want to go and play again? I said no, but I'd love to go out there and captain a team, because I think I loved that sort of trying to plot against the opposition, knowing that you could make one fielding change or one bowling change that could change the game, but no one in the ground would know that. But I knew, or the team knew, that you'd done that. So it was that side of it that really kind of excited me about captaincy, and just sort of leading people really. I did a lot wrong when I was captain. Don't get me wrong. But
Oh, like what? Give us
I
some
think
give us some
just
gossip. What did Charlotte Edwards get wrong?
like I was a highly competitive player, and at times that sort of that really does probably stem over a little bit into sort of being a bit aggressive. So I'm a very different coach to where I was a player, but I kind of needed to be that way to be a good player, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I think I learned a lot from captaincy into coaching, that you can't be the same. Like, you can get away with a lot more as a captain than you can a coach.
Yeah.
Because if you're winning games, and ultimately I was one of the better players. So yeah, but I just loved it. I just loved seeing other people succeed as well. And yeah, there's just so much to it. It's not just the on-field stuff; it's the off-field stuff. So yeah, I guess coaching, sorry, is an extension of a bit of captaincy, and I think
Yeah.
it kind of prepared me for coaching.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, during that time of captaincy, 2 World Cup wins, 3 outright Ashes series. What I was really interested about that is lots of teams can win trophies or tournaments, but you yourself as a captain and the team were so successful for such a sustained period of time. Can you put your finger on what a couple of those things were, those elements that actually made you so successful for so long?
I think having a group of people that was pretty consistent through that period as what I think was important. There was a nucleus of players that stuck together, which and we're lifelong friends now, and I think that real togetherness is critical, I think, for any successful team. I think just that respect for one another. I think one of my key principles about coaching is about respect, because you don't have to like everyone, but you have to respect them. And I think that was really, I think, important within our group. I think we all really understood our roles, what we were there to do. We had some world-class players. I think we had some players at the real top of their games, and I think that's sometimes just a bit of luck.
Yeah, the timing of it.
Like Claire Taylor, she had an exceptional year in 2009, and won 2 player the tournament awards at World Cups, and that's also that doesn't happen all the time. So yeah, good young players. Yeah, I just there was a lot that went in our favour, I think, and I think we were all at a decent good age, and I guess I was probably at the pinnacle of my career as well. So yeah, kind of it worked like that. But 2009 was pretty special.
Yeah.
And
When you say like knowing your role, what was the actual kind of process behind that? Did you have to kind of lead that as a captain, or was it kind of verbally spoken about? What was the kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
was it natural, or did you
I
kind of
think
have
it
to
was quite
work on that?
natural when I look back on it. I mean, obviously we had two great coaches in Mark Lane, who I'm, really close with, and Jack Birkinshaw. And Jack was really highly experienced in terms of, I think he was 67 when he was coaching us then, but he was just amazing around the group. Laney was just a great, great cricket coach.
Hmm.
So, we only had two coaches, and
So
now I
different
think
now.
the support staff I've got with England now, we were just such a little family, really. And
Was that quite organic, like say pretty natural, or did you do things to work on your culture as a team, or was it just
no, I think we were
go
all,
for it?
there were some really good mates within the team. I think we had that young group of Greenway,
Mm.
Gunn, Brunt, Gua. Like they were strong mates, and Laura Marsh was there. I just think there was just a really nice feel to the group, and some good experienced heads in there. And we had a lot of fun as well. And it wasn't professional.
Mm.
And I think what we worked really, really hard, and we had no financial rewards for it. I think it was all about the team. It was all about, I guess, working as hard as we possibly could for each other. And it was a pretty special, like you say, few years. Beth Morgan, like an
Mm.
unsung hero of that team. But all of us are still really good mates. And I think sometimes a reflection of how good a team is.
And do you think, obviously that's not going to happen for every team naturally, is it? Do you think that's something that you can kind of manufacture as a coach, or do you think that is something you just have to see with the players that you've got?
Yeah, a little bit. I think character is really important. I think what that team had was some real characters. I mean, we had Sarah Taylor, one of the, generational player as well. So, she was a young, very young player. Um, we I just think we were really lucky with the characters we had as well. But yeah, we fought pretty hard. But I don't think it's all luck. I think there was we picked the right people who we wanted on the journey with us,
Yeah.
and I think that's something. Even now, I've gone in obviously in coaching now, that at the top level character, and sometimes you have all the top performers or all the skillful player, but a lot of it's around character. And we hear that now in the Ashes, don't we? How the men are talking about it's all about character now, which it is.
And how do you pick up on someone's like you say, you hear it all the time, don't you? How important character is, but how do you actually like assess someone's character? Is it just a vibe? Is it just a
Yeah,
feeling?
it's a look in their eye sometimes. As a coach, you look at someone, they come and look you in the eye, and you know they do it. It's normally by actions and how they present themselves, how they reflect on situations they've been put in. So, um, yeah, I don't think there's a handbook for it,
Mm.
but there's certainly, I think, when I guess, been around as many teams and players as I have, I think there's always a sense that
Yeah,
someone's got what it takes.
bit of a gut feel.
Yeah.
So if we touch a little bit more now, probably then on the end of your career, you're pretty much, it was unexpectedly relieved of the captaincy at the end after the 2016 World Cup in India, England losing in the semi-finals. Now, you were pretty open and you've been pretty honest about how kind of bit of a shock that was and how it turned your life upside down at the time. What I really want to kind of know then is how you've taken yourself from such a tough moment in your life to now being the top of your game from a coaching point of view. Were there kind of actionable steps that you took along the way to get yourself back up to the top?
Um, no, is the real answer, because I think when anything happens so suddenly, it was like, I lost my dad when I was 25, so what was that, 2005? So yeah, so it was 10 years on from that, and that's the closest I'd felt to sort of, it was like grief sort of
Mm.
thing. So I wasn't expecting it. It happened. I dealt with it, and I knew then I just either couldn't. I could could cry and whatever, but I knew I needed to just get 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 on with it, really, and I guess look at the future. I knew initially I didn't want to do anything too heavy or too much of a challenge, so I kind of did just for 2 years, just literally see what was out there. And I kept coming back to cricket and people.
Yeah.
And
What did that look like, seeing what's out there? What did you
I did
do?
some wonderful things. I went on MCC tours. I commentated all around the world. I went and worked in Australia at the Adelaide Strikers. I did various different roles. I did some Chance to Shine work.
Right.
I did so much, but I thought I've got to try all these things to see what I really, really want to do. And as I said, I just kept coming back to I love cricket, I love people, and I actually after 2 years I wanted a challenge again, and that challenge was presented to me with Hampshire cricket and the Vipers, and it changed my life really.
So if there are other women listening now that could maybe relate to that, not necessarily the specifics of the situation, but maybe in business or life or other things like grief, what advice would you give them as kind of maybe like the early things to do when you've been presented with that awful moment? What kind of advice would you give to those women?
I think the best thing that happened to me, I had the summer. I didn't really deal with it. I kind of just kept thinking, I'll just get on with it. I played a bit of cricket. I tried to sort of just try and I went to Australia and I played out there for 3 months for South Australia. And I actually spent 3 months just actually grieving from it, just actually working out, okay, I've got to get a plan here. Okay, it's happened. It's fine. I've dealt with it. You kind of deal with it. And then but I wanted to have a plan moving forward. And that plan for me was, right, I'm going to assess what's out there. So I think just having that time just to reflect um, and look, what do I love doing? Because it comes down to the
Find
passion.
out.
You've got to really love what you do, because I knew I had 20 more years left probably, or 30 more years left in work. And I didn't want to waste that. I wanted to do something that was meaningful and something that I love doing.
So what was it about coaching then or Hampshire that made you think, yeah, actually this is what I want to be doing?
I just said seeing that players getting better, seeing success from teams, and it didn't matter if it was, what level of cricket it was. I went to a tournament actually at Loughborough. It was then called the school games, and I looked after a team which actually had Freya Kemp, Alice Capsey, girls I'm coaching now in the England team, Lucia Kendall, who's now playing for the Lionesses.
Nice.
So I coached her, and I spent 5 days with those players, and I just worked with them for 5 days, and I saw, them on day 1 and day 5 and how much they'd improve. And I thought, this is what I want to do, because I saw the impact you can have, and I saw their faces at the end of it, and I just thought, I quite enjoy this. And then a lot of things fell in my kind of lap, really. I kind of got the job at Hampshire and the Vipers for 5 years, and just loved my time down there, just building that group of players and the academy and doing so much. And then obviously spending some time abroad as well, which I think really complemented what I was doing.
Yeah.
I think having that kind of time in Australia really helped me, because I think I really understood what professional programs look like, because they were a bit ahead of us in terms of where they were at with their cricket. And
What were they doing differently to us at that stage?
well, they just had more
Remember?
money, they had more
Right.
resources, they
Yeah.
had proper infrastructure in terms of, head coaches, assistant coaches, where we hadn't quite got to that point with the
Yeah.
KSL, had we? So we were sort of 5-7 years behind them. And so actually experiencing that helped me when I got the Vipers role, because I thought, well, I know what good looks like, and I want to implement that. And yeah, so it's been quite a roller coaster ride, but I've just loved it. And it will be one of my most favourite jobs. It's your first job as a head coach, and I think I just truly loved my time down there.
And you've talked before as well about you didn't go straight into head coaching, did you? You were assistant coach first. Do you think that stood you in good stead for them being a head coach, or what did you learn from that experience?
I learnt so much as an assistant coach, because I think I think it's quite common with good female players at the moment that they want to push you into sort of head coaching roles maybe before you're ready. And I had some great advice from Tim Nilsson at South Australia. He said, just be an assistant, learn about the job, learn how people do it. You can coach the rest of your life. So 3 or 4 years now is not going to hurt at all. And it didn't. It just helped me, prepared me. I watched people do it, good, bad, and learnt a lot, which set me up, I guess, for what I'm doing now.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is the different experiences that you've had. You've obviously coached domestically, regionally, different franchises in the 100, Big Bash, WPL, and now internationally. Are there like key things that successful teams do across each of those different formats, different people? Are there, when you go into an environment, can you see this team's going to be successful because they do X, Y, Z?
Yeah, there's generally a couple of key things. I think, they work really, really hard, and I think that's fundamental in any team that I'm involved in. I want to work hard. I want them to have fun. I think that they've got to be that respect for each other as well. But with a T20 game as it is, it's not an exact science of winning games of cricket, and it's tough. When I went to India, there was massive expectation to, I took on a team there that no one knew each other. A lot of them couldn't even speak, English. So that was probably one of my most challenging roles. Is I went to a team that I kind of really had to, change my style of coaching, because not everyone.
How so? What did you change?
Well, how I presented stuff. So I was doing a lot of stuff emojis, or a lot of on presentations, and by the end of it, they and I started to talk a bit of Hindi as well. So like it was, you really had to think outside the box a little bit, and use other people, use your coaches. And I think that was a really good example for me, how you can use your coaching team to and collaborate well with them to make sure that the messages get across. Because obviously, when girls didn't understand what I was saying, but I hadn't, one of the players, or sorry, coaches, interpreted everything I said. So we had a lot of fun with that, especially when she lost her voice. That was not a great moment, but those experiences, were invaluable for certainly what I'm doing now.
You spoke about that pressure or the expectation that you probably maybe don't get in the 100 as much, or as in regional cricket. How did you deal with that pressure? I imagine it's very different to any pressure you felt as a player or as a captain.
Yeah, it is a pressure, but I think all I wanted to do was protect the players from it. So it was like I know there's a pressure, I know there's expectation that we've got to win, but I just had to be as normal with the players as I possibly could, and I kind of then dealt with the the outside expectation, or when you're coaching Mumbai Indians, there's an expectation to win. So. But yeah, so I think mine was all about making the players not feel that pressure and go out and play in a way that they could. And, I'm really proud of that time there. And because, to win 2 IPL titles in 3 years, and we got to the semi actually, and we were unlucky not to get through to the final that year. But yeah, that was some of my best times in coaching, to be fair, because it's a long tournament. It's drawn out. It's tough. It's brilliant cricket.
You've been incredibly successful in that, but then also so many other trophies. I think eight different trophies from a coaching career. Now, you don't have to give your secrets away, but if you could pinpoint a few things that you would kind of instill consistency in the teams that you coach, because there must be some kind of method that you're employing that helps teams win.
Good players, and I think you've got to have good players, and this is. I do get a lot of the credit sometimes when we win, and also when we lose. But I think you need really good players, and I think in the franchise stuff, I've always tried to choose players that I know and that have good character, who are team people. So there is a common trend to when I've been in franchise stuff, the types of people we pick.